Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. Welcome to something new that we're starting. It's called Sprouting in Wisdom. Now, this is a series where we're going to talk about how to grow a business with wisdom, intention, and healthy systems. And this is a series primarily for our Sprout Future National area, which includes my personal Mary Kay unit, which is the Joyful Jewel family, the unit of Daphne Johnson, the Powered by Vision unit, and all of the potential offspring units that we have soon to come. And so, that being said, this also can apply to any small business or entrepreneurial journey. So, anyone is welcome to watch this. So, over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about emotional management. We'll talk about money management. We'll talk about goal setting, systems that create consistency, and how activity actually turns into income. But we're also going to anchor these lessons in timeless principles from the Bible. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is not a religious series, and I'm not here to preach. I know that everyone has their own way of worship and their religious beliefs, and I highly respect that. However, I do believe that the Bible is a wonderful book that contains some of the most practical wisdom ever written about life, character, work ethic, and stewardship. And these principles have guided people for thousands of years. And so they're incredibly helpful when building a business. So each week, we're going to take a principle and then we'll apply it to our business and our finances. Now, why is this so important? Well, I've been building my business now for 12 years, almost 13. And one of the biggest reasons that people give up or they quit a business like this, it isn't because they can't sell the product. It isn't because they don't have enough information or they don't have enough training. It is because they don't understand what they're experiencing emotionally right now. And I want to share that all of us go through the emotional cycle, which we're about to talk about, but they don't have systems in place for those emotions. When emotions run the business, things feel chaotic. But when systems run the business, emotions calm down. So let's think about that again. I would love to share this with you. If you manage your emotions, you will be able to manage your paycheck. So let's talk a little bit about this emotional cycle, which every entrepreneur experiences. This is called the emotional cycle of growth. And I'm going to share my slide so you can follow along with me. So, again, every entrepreneur goes through this. And the sooner that you learn to get through all of the cycles and the faster you can go through it, you will be successful. So, of course, that first level is excitement. Everything feels possible. You're thinking of all the people that you can offer this business to, all of the wonderful things that you can accomplish, the goals that the company has shown you are possible to reach. And then what happens, unfortunately, with time, frustration sets in. And frustration is frustrating because maybe you have someone who you really thought was in your corner and they're not in your corner anymore. Or maybe someone didn't come through for you that you thought would come through. Maybe your family isn't as supportive as you thought they would be. Or maybe you're starting to get appointments canceled, or the big one, someone tells you no. I know, I still cringe when someone tells me no, but you know what? No's, we eat no's for breakfast. But those things can chip away at our confidence and they can cause frustration during this emotional cycle. So this is the point where some people are in shock. They're saying, you know what, they told me this would be so easy. It was only $35 or $10 to sign up, depending on when you join. And I didn't think that it would be this hard. Well, then at that point, you get into denial. You're saying to yourself, oh, I don't have anything good to tell my sales director. I don't have anything good to tell my recruiter. I'm just going to just not communicate for a while. I'm going to go MIA. And that happens. Sometimes withdrawal, avoiding the meetings, negative attitude, procrastination. Maybe you find things to do instead of working your business or doing the things that you said you would do in order to move forward in your business. Maybe you take on more time at work or even in the community. And then comes the next stage, which is fear. Now, I want you to realize that fear is very real. However, the way our brain perceives fear is not the truth. Fear is actually false evidence appearing real. All right. And so you tell yourself, I can't do this. Maybe this isn't for me. Oh, maybe this is a sign from God. I shouldn't do this business, right? And you start to blame anyone. You blame your recruiter, you blame your sales director. They didn't tell me this, they didn't tell me that. I can't find the support I need, right? And so you maybe even blame your family, your kids, your job, whatever, anyone but yourself. And this takes us to stage 6. Now, stage 6 has 2 levels. You have one of 2 choices. You can either settle for where you are right now. You can settle for where you are right now and you convince yourself, I didn't really want to do this Mary Kay thing anyway. I didn't want to start this business anyway. I don't have to do it. I have lots of other options, right? Or I've always loved my job. It's my calling. Yeah, I just, I don't even know why I signed up for that silly little thing. You forget your dreams. You forget all that was stirring in your mind when you thought, wow, this could really work for me. That's choice 1. Or you can go to choice 2, which is stage 6A, which is anger, but a good kind of anger, okay? Because now you're angry at the situation. You're angry with yourself. You admit and you recognize, you know what, this is not like me to play the blame game. This is not like me to quit. I am not going to give up. I am responsible for my success and I am responsible for my lack of success. So I'm going to take responsibility. And this, you all, is the key. This is the strongest, most important stage, because then when you take responsibility and you say, it is not like me to give up, it is not like me to quit, it is not like me to lose my joy, then you move on to stage 7, which is recommitment, which is very exciting. And so you get excited again and you send positive messages to your brain. You're sending positive affirmations. You're becoming realistic. You're sharing with your colleagues. You're sharing with other people who are willing to listen, and you're getting back in communication with your sales director or your recruiter. You're going back to the trainings that we have in place, and you're open-minded again. This is a beautiful place to be. And I will tell you, everyone, and if you're watching this live, go ahead and type in the comments. Everyone goes through this cycle. It doesn't matter what level you are in the business, you will go through this cycle. And if you allow yourself to just go through it and you recognize what's happening, you'll be able to snap back and you'll be able to continue on to the next goal. Now, the really cool thing is once you get through the cycle, you're probably at a different level in the business. All right. And so I want you to understand that nothing is wrong with you. Here's the important part. There's nothing wrong with you when frustration shows up. It simply means you're growing and you're going through that cycle. I love the scriptural principle here in, if I can pull it up here, Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 16, because it says the righteous one may fall 7 times and he gets up again. So remember that growth does not require you to be perfect. It just requires you to persevere. Keep going and do not give up. All right, so I know it's Money Monday, and you're probably wondering, Raven, what does all of this have to do with money? I'm trying to remove all of the slides from the stage. Okay, there we go. So you're probably asking, what does all this have to do with money? Emotional management has everything to do with money. When you don't have systems in place, the emotions take over. But when you have clear systems, we feel calmer, we feel more confident. And that's why this series is so important. We are going to start building those systems together. If you're brand new, you have come in at the perfect time. And if you're seasoned, this is a wonderful time for a fresh new start. So the first thing I want to ask everybody to do is to consider your why. What is your why? What is your why? One of the most important things you can do when starting a business or rebuilding your business or taking on any new goal is to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Define it. In your case, is it paying off debt? Is it helping with family finances? Is it helping to save for something meaningful, creating flexibility with your time, or it might be something else. But this is really important because when times get challenging, you will revisit your why. You will remember why you are doing whatever it is you're doing, and that why becomes your anchor. No negative comment, no rejection, no is going to be strong enough to take you away from your purpose. So anchor yourself in your why. So, my next question for everyone is think about this. What would a successful first month in your business look like for you? How much would you like to earn? That's so important. And I know that most of you, if you're brand new, have no idea how much you can earn. But I just want you to think about something, some amount that you would like to work toward earning your first month. Because if we don't put a number on it, you have no idea what you're working for. You're just kind of out here flying and having fun, which it is fun. But we want you to, at the end of the month, be able to say, you know what, this Mary Kay business, hey, it paid for my whole week of Starbucks, or hey, it paid my car note this month, or wow, I didn't realize that this could pay my rent or my mortgage. So what would you like to earn? What would you do with that extra money? And what would time freedom mean for you? So most of the consultants in our areas, they are not working this as a full-time job. Maybe they're working it to earn just a couple of $100 extra a month to, how sometimes we say there's more month than money. The month is still going, but there's not enough money. And so most people are working just to fill that gap. But what if you were able to do something bigger with this? What would time freedom mean for you? And so, not to put any pressure on anyone to put my goals on you, but just think about it, dream about it. This business helps you to dream of what is bigger and what is possible. All right. So, now that you have that down, and I'm hoping that you're writing all of this down, is we want to have a simple money lesson here. I'd love to share with you how money works in this business. It's very simple, and there is no better direct sales company than Mary Kay. So when we sell products, we earn money because we purchase the product at a discount and we sell them at retail. Or if you have a My Shop set up, then people purchase from you, and based off of whether you are an active consultant or not yet an active consultant, that will determine whether you make a 30% profit on the products that people purchase from your website or a 50% profit. And as we know, there is quite a difference between 30% and 50%. So how do you get to the 50%? Well, a consultant who has not yet reached her $450 in retail sales in a month earns 30% profit. Once you reach $450 in retail sales, you become active and you can earn 50% on your retail sales. That is it. That is simple. That is why activity matters. Now, during your new consultant orientation or your business planning session, your sales director or your recruiter would have explained to you your inventory options. So there is a possibility that many of you have started your business having product on hand, activating that 50% discount, and setting yourself up to work on a professional level, having products to service your customers. Others are building up to that point. That's totally fine. Also, when you order products for yourself at the 450 level, you're only paying $225 plus shipping and tax, which also activates that 50% discount and 50% profit for the month you place that order and the following 2 months. Very important to understand that principle. It is very simple, but if you need clarification on that, please go to Mary Kay in Touch. The website is actually mk.marykayintouch.com and go to the career path link under rewards. You will find out a lot of information about what's available to you. But again, 30% as an inactive consultant, 50% as an active consultant. And that is why we want to get an activity. Activity is so exciting when you're working your Mary Kay business and you're sharing our amazing products with other people. All right, now I want to introduce a little principle to you all. And it is called the 60/40 principle. 60/40. What am I referring to? Well, Mary Kay has always taught us this 60/40 rule, and it helps us to manage our money wisely. When you sell products as an active consultant, I'm speaking to active consultants right now because I want everyone earning the most money possible. So that is the scenario I'm giving you. When you sell products, 50% actually goes towards ordering the product, or Mary Kay will take out 50% to ship the product to the person in your behalf. But if you're working with an inventory and someone pays you the whole retail price, you're going to take 50% of that and order the product to replace the stock that you just sold from your shelf. Now, 10% of the retail amount you're going to hold aside for business expenses. What kind of expenses? Well, we're talking about, shipping. We're talking about little supplies that you might want along the way. We're talking about just incentives and hostess gifts that you might want to give to your customers. We're also talking about registration for conferences. You should never have to worry as an active consultant about how you're going to pay for yourself, your professional development to go to a conference, because your expense account as a business owner, as a CEO, boss babe of your own business, will pay for your expenses. Yes, your business should pay for your business expenses. All right. So then what happens to the other 40%? This is the exciting part. The other 40% becomes your profit. And we're going to go deeper into this 60/40 principle in another session because I don't want you to overwhelm yourself. But this is important for as a brand new consultant or someone who is renewing their business. It's going to be very helpful for you to start 3 accounts. Now, most people already have accounts at their bank that they're just laying out there doing nothing with. Most banks will let you open up an additional account for no fee or no cost, but just do some research. And we're not telling you to open up a business classified account, just another personal account that you can use for your business, unless you want to have a business account. All right, so we want to have 3 different accounts. The first one is what I like to call the operating account. This account holds the money that you use to replace your inventory and to operate your business. The other account is an expense account. That's where the 10% is saved. So normally that is a savings account. You're not going to use it as a checking account because whenever you have a business expense, you'll just transfer whatever that amount is to your operating account to place your inventory order or your order for supplies and expenses and things of that sort. So this holds money for things like your hostess gifts, your samples, your supplies, all the things that are business expenses for you. And then number 3, this is my favorite account, and I think you'll love it too. It is called the abundance account. Your abundance account is where you place extra profit beyond your weekly goal. So if your goal is to earn $200 this week, but you earn, let's say, $400, you're not going to pay yourself the $400. You're still going to pay yourself the $200, but you'll put the extra $200 in your abundance account. And that's for when you have some months that maybe you don't reach your goal, but you still have something that you want to pay for. You can reach into that abundance account and take that out. Now, don't dip into the abundance account all willy-nilly, all right? It's there so that you will have it for a rainy day. And not every day will be a rainy day because you will be working your Mary Kay business. Now, we want to have a weekly payday. This is another habit that we encourage in Mary Kay, is to choose a weekly payday. Maybe Friday. That's what I would recommend. You want to pay yourself consistently. When you treat your business like a real business, it becomes one and it will pay you like a business. We'll talk about tracking and how to actually keep track of all of the sales that you get in our next session. But remember, we're teaching this series because it will help you to grow in confidence in your Mary Kay business. Right? And if you know from the front end how to operate it effectively, that will help you to have so much more confidence and so much more success in the business. And I also want to share before we close that I'm teaching this series not because I've done everything perfectly. I guarantee you that I have not, but I've learned a whole lot along the way and sometimes the hard way. And I want to help others to avoid unnecessary frustration. We are all growing and wisdom grows step by step. All right, so in closing, I have some homework for you. Are you ready for your homework? It's very simple. Number one is to define your why. Number two, set a small income goal. Number three is I would love for you to go ahead and open up those three business accounts, or if you have those accounts already somewhere and you're not using your accounts at the bank or your credit union, label them. Label them for yourself, your operating account, your expense account, and your abundance account. And again, we'll talk about how to track every dollar, every appointment using several tools, as well as our weekly accomplishment sheets. But when you track your activity, you're able to predict your income. And remember that emotions calm down when we take action. So I have one final assignment for you this week, and it's called the 10 Orders Challenge. Now, don't worry, I will share the script with you in a text message and in your email, but I want for you to reach out to 10 people that you know and invite them to take a quick look at your online shop. You may get orders, you may get conversations, you may get future bookings, but either way, you're building your business. I don't recommend that you send this message to strangers, and pretty please do not send a group message. First of all, you want to make sure you have people's permission to send them a message in a group setting. Second of all, what happens if someone in the group is a negative Nancy and then they're like, what is this group? And I don't like this and I don't use Mary Kay and blah, 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 right? So let's just see the danger and avoid it, right? That's what God's word tells us. The shrewd person sees the danger and avoids it. So don't send it to strangers and don't send it in groups. Send it to people you already know, like your friends, your family, relatives, your coworkers, previous coworkers, your kids, your neighbors, anyone whose number you have that you're kind of cool with, all right? And just send it out there. It's not salesy, but basically what you're going to say is something like, hey, love, I hope you're doing well. I'm excited because I just started teaching skincare and I started a beauty business with Mary Kay, and my online beauty shop is officially open. My director challenged me to get my first 10 orders in the next 24 hours, and I thought of you. Would you mind taking a quick look at my site and telling me if anything catches your eye? Thank you so much for supporting me. And you'll just insert your website link. If you're brand new, don't worry, we'll help you get it set up. And if you already have your website set up, of course, go ahead and include the link to your website. Okay, guys, remember the emotional cycle we talked about earlier? Taking action like this helps keep you in the excitement and learning stages instead of falling into frustration. You will go through the emotional cycle. All of us do. But guess what? You don't have to do it alone. And you will succeed if you just ride the roller coaster, stay on the ride, and see just how fun it is and see how much success you have in this business. Thank you so much for joining me for our first episode of Sprouting in Wisdom. Check back on Wednesday when Sales Director Daphne Johnson has some more words to share about our timeless principle of the week. Remember, growth happens little by little. Let's keep growing together. Love you guys. Have a great day.